What the fuck? You too, what up? Right now we got the truth about Bronny James and well, it's not really that. It's called What's ESPN Right About Bronny James. On the thumbnail is, you know what I'm saying, what I just said, but that's the official title name. But shit, like I told y'all, bro, I'm finna get more and more into this sports videos because why? Because that's what I've been wanting to do. You know what I'm saying? And second of all, since I got monetized, half of the music I be reacting to, I can't even put ads on them. So it's really discouraging, but it's challenging at the same time. So I gotta find different avenues and different content to put out. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about doing pranks. I'm thinking about, I already do vlogs, but some of my vlogs I can't monetize because I got music in them. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta cut that out. I'm just learning as I go and whatnot, but this is an interesting video, so let's go ahead and get into it.
What's good, everybody? It's Treese and I'm back again. And guys, Bronny James is now 15 years old, pushing 16, and it seems like as he's getting older, it kind of seems like those comparisons we were making so often around a year ago are starting to slowly fade away every single day.
And then I see what he's saying, but because of Mikey, and Mikey is way better than Bronny right now. I mean, that's just let's just keep it real. Mikey is way better than Bronny. He's way ahead of his time. Like, he got the whole pull-up game, athleticism. The only thing that that could slow Mikey down is if he don't grow anymore. But I hope that he grows because I actually like him. Because he was talking about going to historical black colleges and stuff like that and changing the format. I salute that. But Bronny, you know what I'm saying, everybody blossoms at a different pace, you know what I'm saying? LeBron, when he was in high school, he was cold off the bat, you know what I'm saying? He kept growing and growing, that's in height wise, and then the fame, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta be fair with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, Bronny might never ever be as good as LeBron James, but I think he'll be an NBA player though.
As his progression
What you gotta see?
Close to the progression that LeBron was making at the same point in his basketball career. And recently, ESPN has decided to update their list of the top 25 players in the high school class of 2023, in which Bronny James is in, and barely made the list and was far behind other star recruits like Mikey Williams. This list and recent lack of progression has led many to wonder whether or not Bronny really deserves all of the hype that he has gotten in his young basketball career, and if his hype is simply the result of sharing genetics with one of the greatest basketball players to ever do it. The lack of output Bronny has made in his high school with very poor stats in his freshman year of high school seriously
ain't getting no minutes.
People as to whether all the college interest he has gained over the past few years.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he had it was a lot of seniors, you know what I'm saying, in the starting lineup, so that's not really fair.
Even ranked Bronny where they did, simply because of the fact that they have hyped him up so much recently and don't want to get a bad reputation for hyping up a player that they don't even truly believe in. With all this being said, is Bronny James really LeBron James with a better jump shot and ball handling abilities as we thought around a year ago? Or is his bad ranking justified, and is he destined to disappoint all of us when it is time for him to head to college? Well, let's dig in.
Nah, he's gonna get better, bro.
Is a 4-star recruit, something that kind of shocks most.
It really depends on what he does this year. You know what I'm saying? He might not be a first option next year. And that's okay. It's really what he adds to his game. Is he gonna have a pull-up game? Is his handle gonna be tighter and stronger? Is he gonna be more athletic? You know what I'm saying? Is he gonna be able to facilitate, be able to score more? That's really what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Cause he's still young as hell. Like, everybody has different blossom moments. You know what I'm saying?
Most basketball fans.
Some people just be jumping the gun.
There is a reason, and it goes far beyond the surface. Look at his competition, watch their highlights, and soon you will realize that Bronny is honestly a few levels behind them at this particular moment, which can easily explain this. Bronny's high school class of 2023 is many things. One of those things is the hype. Starting with the #1 ranked player is a shot creating and playmaking DJ Wagner, who right now appears to be a rather smaller point guard standing at just 6'3", but last season he was just a freshman, meaning that he will easily gain at least another few inches. However, If you compare side by side Bronny James to DJ Wagner, it does raise a bit of concern for Bronny. Both are
Hey,
point guards, both can create shots for themselves and others. Bronny is a bit more naturally athletic, DJ is taller and more polished as a point guard. Bronny appears to be a better
I don't see how he better than Mikey though. Cause Mikey number 3. I don't see anybody better than bro though.
After all, he is considered a small point guard, and he is taller than Bronny, who, to be fair, is better built. However, before anybody freaks out about this, it is crucial to point out that LeBron James was a late bloomer himself, both in terms of basketball and his physical features, but I don't want to get into that quite yet. I'll be saving that for later. The reasons I brought it up is because...
You just say LeBron's a late bloomer? Fan, he was starting in the 9th grade. He was averaging like 16 points per game as a freshman. What are you talking about?
Though Wagner is clearly the superior talent, this may change as soon as next year, but a whole lot of things need to go in Bronny's favor in order for this to happen. Another hyped up point guard out of Bronny's class is a basketball icon, really. This being Mikey Williams. The guy really doesn't need an introduction, but if you want the reality, there is a reason Williams is the 3rd best player in the class and why he is a far better player. I want to emphasize a better player. He is, in my opinion, a far superior player as of this given moment, but Bronny, in my opinion, is just as healthy of a prospect. Because remember, ESPN can't rank Bronny based on what he will become. They are ranking him according to what he is now. Bronny is supposed to become somewhere around 6'6" and possibly 6'8" if he really is this late bloomer that so many are claiming that he is, but he is simply not there just yet. And we don't know for certain if that will ever even come. I mean, right now, Bronny is listed as 6'2", though to me that may be a little bit of a stretch, and at this same exact age, his father LeBron was already standing at about 6'5". So, there are definitely questions as to whether this growth will eventually even happen, or if it is just the basketball world being optimistic and hoping that Bronny can take over the NBA once his father has left, and give us at least a few glimpses of the two together.
LeBron won 6'5" as a freshman
in the NBA, because let's be real, this would be the most awesome sight that most basketball fans could have ever witnessed. A father and son.
But Bronny will be better than Michael Jordan kids though, for sure.
And if it happened with the son of one of the NBA's greatest all-time players, that would just be a dream come true for the basketball.
You gotta imagine, like, you being the son of a great player. Like, I know that's a lie. You gotta have a mental toughness for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's harder than what it seems.
The better prospect. Many people actually believe that Mikey Williams is already reaching his potential as a basketball player, which to me seems crazy as he's still so young, and I don't necessarily believe this, but it doesn't seem as if he has grown much physically in terms of height, and his body is incredibly mature for such a young guy, and it makes me wonder just how much more does the god of genetics have left to offer for Mikey. Whereas Bronny, on the other hand,
that's what I'm saying. I hope Mikey grows, man.
To be clear, Bronny is not on track to be 6'8". I just don't think that that will happen. Most height calculators predict him to eventually become somewhere around 6'5" and perhaps 6'6". But again, the late bloomer thing is something to also consider. But another thing to consider is that Bronny hasn't grown much recently, whereas LeBron, like I mentioned earlier, was about 6'5" at Bronny's current age. Let's take a quick break from genetics and physical features and have a little discussion about skill. BJ Boston is the 7th best player in this year's graduating class, and he has some very high praise for his former teammate Bronny. Boston said, "By the time Bronny is a senior, he might be the best player in the world." This is the part that excites me because unlike traditional scouts, I like to look more into the actual skill that a player possesses, because even if Bronny stops growing right now, he is a solid size for a point guard, a little undersized, but we don't have to worry about that anyways. BJ Boston making this claim about a freshman who played just 15 minutes per game and scored just over 4 points per game in each matchup as a freshman appears a bit presumptuous. But remember, Bronny was a freshman playing for one of the biggest schools in the United States, unlike Mikey Williams, and as a raw talent, numbers weren't expected to come immediately. On the other hand, Bronny's father was given the green light since he picked up a basketball, as he attended a much smaller school, but unlike Bronny, made an incredible impact from the time he stepped on the court for St. Vincent St. Mary. Do I think Bronny will be the best player in the world as a senior, as BJ Boston said? No, not necessarily, but I would not doubt
He
if he
definitely
by
gonna be
then
top
finally
5.
ranks to become the top player in high school, and by then has proven that this hype was not just amassed from simply being the son of LeBron James. Now, let's take a little second to make something very clear. Just because you share genetics with somebody, that doesn't mean that you will become the exact same player. Bronny will not become LeBron James. They are totally different. Kobe Bryant is one of the best scorers in NBA history. Do you think that his father was anything even remotely similar to him? No.
Hell
Kobe
nah.
Bryant was a big man who never averaged more than 12 points per game in his NBA career. A solid player, but certainly no Kobe Bryant. This actually transitions to another very interesting point. A very popular
That's a good
belief is
point,
that
though.
Bronny doesn't have the same hunger as his dad did. LeBron grew up with absolutely nothing, struggling to find a place to live at many points in his childhood, and with no father, he had no option but to succeed in life. And he chose sports. He picked up a football, dominated that, and could have become an NFL player if he really wanted to, but instead his hunger focused on basketball, as he knew that he had the raw skills to become an NBA player and be able to get out of his poverty-stricken life if he stayed dedicated to the sport. Whereas Bronny, on the other hand, let's be real, he could not pick up a basketball for another day in his life, and his life would still be completely set. In his past of economic struggles, and I emphasize economic because I don't want to downplay any other unfortunate events that may have come his way, may have had a negative impact on his work ethic in basketball. However, what many people don't know is that a common critique towards Kobe Bryant before he entered the league as being the son of a former NBA player, Kobe didn't exactly need to choose basketball. He could have went to college and made a nice career that way, and though Joe Bryant was certainly not nearly as rich as LeBron is, there was that sense of financial comfort for Kobe that guys like LeBron never had. But despite this, the term work ethic is used synonymously with Kobe Bryant's name. Sometimes having that desire is
Greatest
something that
ever.
you are born with. And Bronny does certainly enjoy living a life outside of basketball, but on all accounts, he is an absolute workhorse in the gym. What I'm trying to get at is two things. First of all, Bronny does not need to be the next version of his father. The kid is literally 15 years old, and we don't even know how tall he will eventually become. But in my opinion, Bronny being a bigger point guard with shot
I'm
creating
excited
and
to see it, though.
skills with a nice shooting stroke reminds me a whole lot of Jamal Murray with better playmaking skills. Now wait, you may think that this is setting the bar too low for him, but for a guy so young, setting the bar low is exactly what we need to do right now. He is young, and being compared to his father is very unhealthy for his growth. And personally, I think Bronny has the ceiling of LeBron, but just to compare skill sets, Jamal Murray is very reasonable. Now, as for the work ethic aspect, I think Bronny has so much to prove to so many people. Him being told every single day that his hype is just a result of being LeBron's son will do very well for his basketball career, and just that in itself
I
can
hope
help
so,
him stay
man.
motivated to remove himself from that title. Now, to move on from this discussion, let's just analyze Bronny as a
I hope he
player
grows to
and
be like
remove his father
6'6".
from the scenario. What
He
is
don't need to
interesting
post
about
no
Bronny
more
is that he
pictures
doesn't
for the
really
remainder
have
of
a
this
glaring
Corona
weakness
stuff.
in his game.
So when
His defense is
the
good,
basketball season
his
about to
shooting
come
stroke is
around,
good, he is
everybody
athletic,
just see him like,
and sees the floor
damn.
very well for a
You know
guy
what I'm
at his
saying?
age.
Pop
He
out
is
on
very
that.
unselfish and likes to share the ball, which I will admit is a trait that draws a lot of natural resemblance to his father. Standing at 6'2" with a reported wingspan of about 6'6" and a very built body for a player so young, the physical tools were there from the start. Considering that LeBron has a vertical of around 44 inches and the speed of a track runner, that athleticism is destined to grow for Bronny as well. And if you watch him play now, it is clear that there aren't many guys at his age who can run the floor and jump like he can. And once he is a senior in high school, I wouldn't doubt if he is the biggest physical freak that the game offers at that level. Now, let's just put it all together. Bronny has a basketball IQ that had to be inherited from his father. Of course, LeBron has arguably the greatest basketball IQ of any basketball player ever, and you combine that
You can
with
argue
no
that.
glaring weakness, a solid jump shot, smooth handles,
Huh? Alright.
amazing playmaking skills already, in a frame that one day should be about 6'6" as a point guard. Yeah, sign me up. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. LeBron James Jr. is not simply a high-level prospect because of his father. Bronny James is a hyped-up prospect because he is the most athletic and rawly skilled player in his high school class, and once he is a senior in high school, it will be clear that he always was the best.
He's not the most athletic his age, but he has the most athletic potential. You know what I'm saying? Like by the time, even next year, like you're gonna see a huge jump in his athleticism. Like he's gonna be catching bodies for real.
Best prospect. And the only
I'm-
reason
I'm here for it.
higher was because foolish people on the internet claim that the hype is only because of his father. And once about every 5 years, we see a
Haters gonna hate.
high school
Haters gonna
with
hate.
generational talent. Mark my words, by 2023, LeBron James Jr. will be one of those guys. And if you actually watch him play, it will amaze you that he's only 15 years old. Anyways, guys, I hope that you all enjoyed. Definitely let me know what you think about Bron.
Yeah, but if y'all like this video, man, y'all go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to your boy, and if you want more sports video, which is gonna happen anyways, but if you enjoyed it, like the video, you know what I'm saying? It's that simple. I'm gonna fuck with y'all on the next one. I'm out of here.